Hi everyone, on this video we're going to talk about how to dimension the multi-view drawings that we created on Fusion 360. So, if you're following along in our textbook, this is from activity 1.2.4, the fundamentals of dimensioning. And remember, there's this dimensioning flowchart that you can click over here that walks us through the dimensioning process. So the first thing we have to do is create a multi-view drawing. You should have already done this for all of your blocks. If you did not, you can go to assignment 1.2.3 on the Google Classroom, and there's a video here on how to create your multi-view drawing. So we're going to say that we already have our multi-view drawing created. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to count or write down the number of features. So that's stuff like a notch taken out, a hole, or the object. You're going to select the best view for each representation, dimension each feature with the size and location. So remember, we want the vertical height, the horizontal distance, and then also the depth. And then you're going to ask yourself, did I dimension every feature that I listed above? If not, you're going to go back up and dimension each feature again until you are complete. So to do this, we're going to be on Fusion 360, and you see in the top left it says HFCA Intro to Engineering Design. You want to make sure yours says that. If it does not, click the drop down and select HFCA Intro to Engineering Design. So I am then going to find my name. So I'm going to scroll down until I see McCann. I'm going to open that project, and I'm going to go into my 1.2.2 toy blocks where I have all of my toy blocks saved. So you can see in here, I already have all of my drawings. I didn't do all of them. I just have a couple of them done. But you should have all 8 blocks plus your tower, and then you should have a multi-view drawing for each of the blocks. So I'm going to do this for the bridge as the example. So I'm going to open my bridge drawing. Once again, if you do not have the drawing already created, you are going to go back to the assignment on the Google Classroom 1.2.3 and follow along with that video to complete the multi-view drawing. So once this loads, we're going to have a multi-view drawing that looks just like the multi-view drawings we're doing on paper. We have our 3 views, our front view, our top view, and our side view, as well with the isometric view. So what we're going to do on here is we're going to dimension the object just like we did in the past. So if I'm doing this, I say, okay, for feature 1, I see I got this hole taken out of the center. So I'm going to have to make sure I dimension the hole. That's the location, horizontal, up and down, and then also the diameter. And then I'm going to have to dimension the object, the entire rectangle. Those are the only 2 features I have. So to start off, to dimension the hole in the center, I'm going to have to say, okay, which view best represents the hole here? The top, the front, or the right? Well, the front is where I can actually see the arch of the hole missing for the bridge, so that's what I'm going to dimension. So in the very top of your screen in the center, you're going to see dimensions. And you're going to see this little sunshine looking symbol with the distance across for dimension. So you're going to click on that. And now what you can do is come down to the objects that you want to dimension. So the first thing I want to do is add in the radius or the diameter for the circle. So I'm going to click once on the circle. And then I'm just going to go out. And you notice how no matter where I go, it follows that line. I can pick where I want to put the radius. So I'm going to put it right here. And remember, for an arch, so a not complete circle, it's going to give you the radius. For an entire circle, it will give you the diameter. Both of those are fine. So the next thing I have to do is dimension where the center of the hole is compared to the left or right distance, as well as the up or down distance. So I'm going to click on the center of the hole. And then I'm going to either click on this left corner or the right corner. It's up to you. So I'm going to choose the left corner. And you notice it gives me the distance, and I'm just going to drag it down a little bit and click again. So now I got the center of the hole distance horizontally. I also need it vertically. So I'm going to click in the center of the hole again. So I'm going to re-click my dimension. It's not wanting me to, there it goes. So there's the center. Sometimes it takes a second to find it. And now I need to dimension all the way up to the top. So I'm going to click on that top line and then go out to the side. and I'll get my 1.18 inch as well. So now I have the hole with the radius, the horizontal distance, and the vertical distance. The last thing I need is the depth. So for the depth, you could either use the top view and say how deep it is this way, or you could use the side view and say how deep it is this way. For this one, I'm just going to use the top, but once again, you could use either. So the hole depth is what these lines represent. These are the through hidden lines for the hole. So I'm going to click on that line, and then I'm going to go out to the side. It's taking a second to keep up with me. There we go. And I'm going to drop that depth. So now for the hole, I have the horizontal distance, I have the vertical distance, I have the radius, and I have the depth. So the hole is completely dimensioned. Now, if you remember that flow chart, the next thing I have to do is go back up and say, okay, what is the next feature I'm going to dimension? In that case, this is the whole object. So I need the whole width, the whole height, and the whole depth of the rectangle. So for the whole width, I'm going to say, okay, I want to go from this side all the way to this side. So you can pick which corners you want, or you can just select the line you're dimensioning, which is really nice. So I'm going to say I'm going to go from the top left corner to the top right corner. And then I'm just going to go up. I could go down, but you notice it gets a little messy down here. So I'm going to go up and drop that there. And now I need the total vertical distance of this. But you notice this 1.18 is already from the very bottom to the very top. So I don't need to do the vertical distance again. If I were to do the vertical distance here, we would have a repeated dimension. So you can see it's 1.18 on there twice. So I don't need to add that. So I'm going to press escape to get rid of that. So since I have the total horizontal distance, the total vertical distance, I now need the total depth. So once again, I'm going to use the same view that I dimensioned before. I'm not going to split it up over here. So since I did the top before, I'm going to do the top again. And if I were to do the total depth here from the very tip to the very bottom, you notice I get that 1.18 again. So that's an over dimension, so I do not need to add that. So I'm going to press escape to get rid of it. And that means this one is fully dimensioned. So just one thing to note here, if you do accidentally dimension it on here twice and you drop it, if you want to get rid of it, what you have to do is make sure your dimension's not highlighted. So press escape to where that blue highlight goes away. You're going to click on it and then click with 2 fingers and press delete. So you have to click on it once, click on it with 2 fingers, and then press delete. So in this case here, I am almost done. I got everything dimensioned, but the last thing I need to do is get rid of any views without dimensions. So since this right view does not have any dimensions on it that were necessary, I'm going to do exactly what I just did with the dimension. I'm going to click on it, click with 2 fingers. Sometimes you got to do it more than once. And I'm going to press delete to get rid of that view. So now I have a fully dimensioned bridge that I would save. And you notice it will update over here. You are then going to go through and do that with all of your individual blocks. If you want to give your tower an attempt, I will give people some extra credit if they're able to work through the tower. But the tower is going to be much more difficult because we have multiple blocks on there stacked. My computer's taking a second to load it, so just give it 1 second here. But the tower does get a little bit more complicated. So if you want to attempt the tower, I'll give you some extra credit. Otherwise, just do this for your 8 individual blocks for the multi-view drawings. That way you can add dimensions, just like this.